Alright, this is Department of Defense Directive. I'm the Department of War, the Department of Defense Directive, where I downloaded the template off of ESDWHS Mill, and I have named my Federal Advisory Committee by the FACA Act, the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection. You can see that there's an E here, which means I have a typographical error. So, skip the first page is the table of contents. I couldn't figure out how to edit that in the template. And, alright, section 1. General insurance issuance information. The Applicability issue and apply to the Office of Secretary, well, OSW, Military Department's Office Chairman, Joint Chief of the Staff, Joint Staff of Combat Command, Officer Inspector General, Department of War, Defense Agencies, Department of War Field Activities. Other organizations within the Department of War refer collectively as the Department of War components, which I'd like to call the Department of Defense. Mission. The United States Commission of the Petroleum Inspection is to be a committee founded by the President existing the Continental Interstate Oil Commission for performance of the inspections, auditing regular duties, partnering with the Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, utilizing State Emergency Response Commission, DoD-sponsored directors for administration and management. All DoD-supported committees in the United States Commission of the Petroleum Inspection shall serve as its advisory functions as directed by the President and the directive of their designees to determine its expression of policy matters with the reports and recommendations and functions to be balanced on terms of representation with the reports. Other means made by public hearings. All DoD supported committees shall develop and adopt laws to the committee and its subcommittees by the majority vote and authorization of operation with inner workings of the Department of Defense by law shall be made available to the public on request. Federal Advisory Committee created within and established out of the non-Department of Defense support committees authorized by the President of the United States, the Congress Secretary of Defense, and were official authorized by Secretary of Defense. Non-Department of supported committees include intra-state cross-modeled with state, local, environmental emergency response commissions and other DoD-supported hazard material committees. The organization chart trickles down from Secretary of Transportation to Chairman of Inspection, Intragovernmental Oil and Gas, Interstate Oil and Gas Boards, Oil and Gas Commissioner of Inspection. We have FRA Headquarters, FRA Associate Regional Office, FRA Administrator, FRA Regional Supervisor, FRA Regional Supervisor Inspection, Senior FRA Inspector, 88U Specialist. In the middle, we have the Department of Environment, Intergovernmental Environmental Protection Agency to the DoD Field Activity Director on the FRA side, and on the PHMS side, and then hazmat committees under Intergovernmental Environmental Protection Agencies. PHMSA on the right goes from PHMSA Administrator, Deputy Administrator, Associate Administrator, Regional Director, Regional Management, Regional Manager, Department of Defense Liaison, 92F Petroleum Specialist. The PHMSA Deputy Associate Administrator, Eastern, Central, Western, Southwestern, Southern Region, and then on a branch of Field Support Enforcement, Fitness Certification Standards, Federal Railroad Administration Program Manager, Tanker Quality, Car Safety, Tanker Car Quality Assurance Specialist, General Engineering Package. Section 2, Responsibility and Functions, Intercontinental United States Commission on Petroleum Inspections. The Intercontinental United States Commission on Petroleum Inspections mission is to establish a commission with outreach to the Department of Justice to regulate petroleum transportation facilities, assembled with the executive order to assume the powers of inspection, intergovernmental and intragovernmental by creation of oil gas commissioners over the inspection in each state. Report to a presidential executive order, Federal Advisory Commission made with the commissioners of the inspection. The U.S. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection performs its responsibility with the coordination of Federal Railroad Administration, Pipeline Hazard Material Safety Administration, Department of Environmental and National, State, and Local headed under the Secretary of the Transportation. Statutory appointed commissions by executive order following Title 49, Part 100 to 199, PHMSA 200 to 299 FRA, and statutory authority commission the duties already established by the states and investigation to United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection provision to Congress. The duties and function of the U.S. Commission on Petroleum Inspection to conduct inspection, complaint, accident, casualty, special waiver, HMI, one-time movement investigation history conduct before petroleum facilities and petroleum tanker car transportation by rail carrier. Establish and enforce compliance programs with civil penalties policy, pursue the provision statutory inspectorial investigational duties, conducting of FRA hazard material tanker car audits, PHMS facilities, on-site investigation, unified facility criteria, maintenance, scheduled inspection. Violators will be subject to penal code in form of civil penalties listed, which reported to Congress and state oil gas commissions, then to the United States Commission on Petroleum Institute. Two, Secretary of Transportation, Department of Transportation, Secretary of Transportation. The Secretary of Transportation shall have the authority over the United States Commission of the Petroleum Inspection. Secretary of Transportation will may and or appointed over the United States Commission of the Petroleum Inspection, as well as delegate with the Commission and subcommittees. Secretary of Transportation has its will in its chair and with the United States Commission of the Petroleum Inspection be the delegating authority of the Federal Aviation Administration and Maritime Administration. The Department of Environmental Protection. The Department of Environmental Protection shall ensure, uphold federal, state, local, and state emergency response commissions pertaining to the Circular Act and EPCR, Environmental Protection Comprehensive Recovery Act in each state. State local hazard material management program. State and local hazard material management program charters shall provide environmental stewardship census sessions, issue and investigate subpoena warrants and permits, participate in any local, state, or national committee affiliated with the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection as environmental or hazardous stewardship expertise, witnesses, or participants. The Petroleum Oil and Lubricant Command, Climate, Geospatial, Textile, Engineering, Contamination Control, Constraints, Exposures to the National Pipeline Mapping System, Military Traffic Command Management, and Strategic Corridor Network. The FRA Organization of Tanker Car Teams, the FRA Railroad Administration Headquarters, National Railroad Safety Policy Development, Regulatory Development, Rulemaking, Oversight, Inspection Programs coordinated with the other federal agencies. FRA Associated Administrative develops and interpreted with the National FRA with the Tanker Car Safety Inspection Compliance and Auditing prior to the Hazard Material Tanker Car Inspection across all FRA regions, ensure the audit program aligned with regulatory requirements under Title 49 CFR 171 to 180. Coordinates on a national level to investigate with the FRA field region of the National Transportation Safety Board when needed, directs urgent safety compliance inspections and emergency audits, applies audit procedures to nationwide. Aligns FRA Rail Safety Inspector with a PHMSA Hazmat Inspector with the FRA Regional Office to conduct with a tanker car facility audits with qualification, manufacturing, inspection, repair, handle, shipping, papers, classification, hazmat, commodities, loading and unloading, proceed with the placard stenciling with the .117 requirements, initiate support enforcement over the violation of the detect the emergency order, civil penalties, suspension of the repair certifications, post-accident tanker car investigation for safety regulations, on-site investigation failure and accidents, reports filing to the FRA headquarters. Regional Supervisory Specialist oversee the enforcement of federal regulations of Title 49 CFR 171 and 180, checks integrity of the tanker car maintenance standards, coordinate with the civil penalty effective notice and compliance orders. Senior FRA Inspector, Supervisor Hazard Material Inspection Activity Reviews, Inspection Finding Accuracy, conducts oversees safety inspection, takes enforcement and compliance actions, evaluates violation, Inspector initiates enforcement acts on defects, compliance orders, civil penalties, and cross-inspection teams. The PHMSA Inspector, Hazmat Facility Regional Administrator, Deputy Administrator of the agency-wide oversight, major investigation, executive authority, policy implementation, major enforcement actions. Associated Administrator provides national oversight investigation program, works to set national policy direction with the regulatory authority, oversee the enforcement strategy, coordinates with the regional administrator, other federal agency, PHMSA, Environmental Protection Agency, National Transportation Service Board, and DOT. Regional administrators oversee all investigations involved with the petroleum facility, bulk storage terminal, tanker farm, pipeline connected distribution of facility, loading, unloading, operations. Approve the direct major enforcement involving civil penalties, compliance orders, corrective actions, operational restrictions, high risk escalation, repetitive violations. Coordinate regional investigation teams and incident command, emergency response oversight with partnering with the federal agencies and PHMSA headquarters. The regional manager ensures that the petroleum facility investigations are properly scoped and the staff and completed, manages field personnel such as heads of material inspector, pipeline inspection, supervisor inspector, team lead, reviews with work performance inspection, quality review validated investigation outputs for the incident report, violation documentation, facility safety assessment, initial of the root and cause for the incident, coordinate incident response, deploy and manage, investigate, term local, state, emergency responders, perform and sustain safety investigation at incident sites, support hazmat containment assessment efforts over the end, regulatory compliance on federal relations, Department of Transportation, regional manager, designated field officer or liaison, supervisor investigates involving petroleum storage, transfer, and handling facilities enforce Title 49, 171, 180 Hazardous Material Regulation, Pipeline Safety Regulation Act, or Title 49, 190, 1199, including spill prevention control measure, tank integrity inspection program, 3, emergency shutdown system, 4, vapor recovery pressures control systems, 5, transfer loading safety and procedures, 6, coordinated field inspector with investigators, 7, exercise incident response management, C, recommend civil penalty regulatory determination, enforcement action, technical review, facility systems, including tanker construction integrity standard with cathodic production system of pipeline and tanks, emergency response and shutdown system, leak detection system, facility inspection and maintenance records. PHMSA will handle the loading of the tank vehicles from the Federal Motor Carrier Highway Association and the depot fuel station and petroleum facility loading docks. 4 acronyms. Section 3, relationship with terms and agreement. The Environmental Protection Agencies conduct the ongoing program monitoring compliance of the Resource Conservation Recovery Act and the Hazardous Material Transportation Act regulation, bringing enforcement action involved with the hazardous waste transporter violators normally under the primary jurisdiction of the EPA is discussed in the Memorandum of Understanding. Investigate reports of the DOT would give the EPA cause to the suspect of the violation of the Resource Conservation Recovery Act has occurred and or was warranted, initiated appropriate regulatory enforcement action under the Resource Conservation Recovery Act. Bring enforcement action for the address hazards of the waste activities which will present the imminent substantial endangerment of the health and environmental status of the administrative of the Environmental Protection Agency. Department of Transportation conduct the ongoing program inspection, transport, or ship of the hazardous materials in compliance with the Hazardous Material Transportation Act regulations. Immediately advise appropriate EPA regional office of any possible violation of the Resource Conservation Recovery Act or regulations adopted thereunder. Investigate reports of the Environmental Protection Agency which give the DOT cause to the suspect violation of the of Hazmat Material Transportation Act has occurred and where warranted initiate appropriate regulatory or enforcement action under Hazmat Material Transportation Act. Make available and provide informational reports, documents, or other evidence of the Environmental Protection Agency necessary for the enforcement regulatory action. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection with other agencies coordinate investigative enforcement action involving both Resource Conservation Recovery Act and Hazmat Material Transportation Act. Coordinate relationship with the agency with the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection, both headquarters within the field, with included exchange of the information relative to the agency's plan with hazardous material compliant waste material compliance, monitoring, and enforcement actions. Designate other agencies' headquarter contact point with whom communication regarding memorandum agreement or matters affected for the referral for attention. Assign regional liaison between agencies and provide mechanisms with regional contacts will be made and maintained for the period of agreement. Issue and exchange with the other instruction guidelines, implementation memorandum of understanding identifying interagency contact liaison representatives and setting forth other operational procedures to be followed relative to the agreement. Memorandum of Understanding. It is not intended to limit in any way or statutory authority or jurisdiction of any agency. Nothing in the Memorandum of Understanding modifies other existing agreements or precludes with the agency from entering into separate agreements, setting forth procedures for special programs which can handle more efficiently and expeditiously by such special agreement. Section 4, Authorities. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Authorities. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Authorities. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection shall have its authorities delegated by the President of the United States, creating a commission under the Federal Advisory Committee Act. Its authorities originate from the Continental United States Oil and Gas Board Commission. It shall be the direction of the Secretary of the Transportation. Regulatory overlap. Authorities can both enter an intrastate oil and gas board, a Department of Transportation, to abide by the Hazardous Material Transportation Act with Environmental Protection Act. The United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection with other agencies coordinate, investigate, enforcement action involved with both Resource Conservation Recovery Act and Hazardous Material Transportation Act. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Deputization. The United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection shall have the right to deputize general designated field officers for its mission objective to all states of the continental United States. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection with DoD Instruction 552313, Department of Defense deputization with DoD personnel shall have the authority to deputize all DoD supported members and non-DoD supported members with the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection mission objectives bestowed by the Department of Justice. The United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection shall have the right to deputize officers with dual domains and PHMSA investigation officers in Title 49, Part 107, and FRA Title 49, Part 207 of the Railroad Police. These officers shall have jurisdiction in all continental 50 states. The United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection shall collaborate, partner, coordinates its authorities with its DoD-supported, non-DoD-supported committees, agencies on Federal Mediation Council, revision policy, procedures, and provisions, and cross-module memorandums of agreement, memorandums of understanding. The United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Commission will notify that all parties' reorganization, dramatic changes to its policy, procedures, or anything that may affect the united cross-module nature of the memorandum of agreement. Any modifications or additions to the memorandum of agreement may initiate by United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection at any time will become effective when agreed to in writing by all parties. The United States Commission in Petroleum Inspections will coordinate enforcement discrepancies found leading to legal enforcement action through the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Organization. Deputized members of the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection will address appropriate field office operating authorities to cooperate in joint inspection and training activity. The United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection appointed officers will appear as witnesses at enforcement hearings as necessary to corroborate evidence. Servability. Nothing in this memorandum of agreement or any annex shall be construed with a conflict of law, regulation, directive of the Department of Transportation or with the Department of Homeland Security. If the terms of the memorandum of agreement are inconsistent with such authority, the terms shall be invalid to the extent and inconsistency with the remainder of the term and other terms of the memorandum of agreement or any annex shall remain in effect. Right and benefits. Nothing in this agreement is intended to diminish otherwise the authority of any agency to carry out statutory, regulatory, or other official functions. Amendment, modification, memorandum of agreement, any annex here and may be amended or revised anytime with a written agreement of the Department of Transportation and the commandment of the Coast Guard or Secretary of Homeland. Security of Homeland. Period agreement termination. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection shall have the term created by the President Executive Order Federal Advisory Committee Act shall serve with a term of 5 years, and the term of the Commission may be signed back into existence with a new presidential elect. Coordinating and plan inspection, training, enforcement activities, development strategies, coordinate meetings regular under the direction of the Memorandum of Understanding Annex of the Commission interstate in the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Commission in legislative offices. For the training of the field inspectors, coordinate inspection enforcement actions. Their respective inspectors discuss matters of warrants over the interaction interstate oil gas boards. The United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection pursue the respective mission necessitated by operational, environmental, emergency circumstances or other contingencies. Regulations of the directive and understanding of the guidelines of the Memorandum of Understanding part of the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Commission is the development regulations of other requirements such as order directives and guidelines and standing of the provide opportunity for the components of the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Commission to provide input, consultation, proposal, and action relevant to the industry and agencies. Legislation and testimony parties will consult with each other to the extent with a reasonable practical draft bills their development, comments, testimonies, briefings to be given before congressional bodies or staff answering to the question for the record. Public statement and press release publications parties will consult each other to the extent reasonable practical. The public statement, pressing, release, publications, private issuance, and the parties will generally consult in an appropriate time determined by the Commission. Publication of the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection will be made Federal Register in the Congress. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection authority to hold audit, investigation, compliance, order issues, and civil penalties. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection shall have the right to investigate any and all warrants drawn against a petroleum facility in the continental United States, conduct audits with all DoD supported committees and agency, enforce compliance orders as issues civil penalties. Section 5, Delegation of Authority. The Intercontinental United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection, Department of Justice Regulatory Commission with petroleum pipeline tank vehicles, facilities, and Class 3 operations. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection will make a policy of the development and hazmat material charters, program creation of an inspection enforcement safety regulation coordinated with the original offer of other agency mission objective of the mission to determine compliance with the investigation of federal hazmat law and hazmat material regulations, including special permit approvals as thereunder. Investigation incident, prepare reports, evidence to make recommendations gathered by the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Committee for civil and criminal enforcement actions, advancement in administrative expertise for the judicial proceedings, advisement to the office of the Department of Transportation for the enforcement ability of proposed and existing regulations within the industry, establishing and maintaining liaison and other administration with the Department of Federal Agency, state, local enforcement organization concerning inspection enforcement, and B, judicial proceedings performed by the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection. Informal conference scheduled by investigation authorities associated with the Commission on American Petroleum Association. Bench test trials provided with the inspector relations regarding inspection factual statements made by the respondent. Conduct post conference debriefing, discuss conference made by the Interstate Oil Gas Commissions for post-secondary conference and briefing issue resolution of the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Administrative law judge hearings. Requested hearings made by the Petroleum Investigation complying with determined matters of the authenticity of issue material factor or law request service of the administrative law judge hearings made by the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection. Formal hearings made by the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection shall be by assessment visits of garrison enforcement performed by the Oil and Gas State Commissioner of the inspection performed by agency of the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection. Civil penalty of an compliance order done with the warrants may not be made by non-DoD supported committees of the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Commission on Petroleum Inspection. Audit techniques to the ticketing compliance of formal hearings with the DoD supported committee agencies, affiliated associations will perform consolation of offer compromise order, determine penalties discussed in Title 49 Part Code of Regulation 107.327. Appeals to the United States Commission of Petroleum Inspection. Appeals to be handled by the United States Commission of Petroleum Inspection are discussed and assessed by interstate oil gas commissions that have been provided formal hearing or appeals by the U.S. Court of Appeals and District of the State with the residence of the respondent. 2. The respondent defendant appeals will be held with the Administrative Law Judge Council with the Congressional Directory Appeal. Orders shall be made in accordance with the Administrative Procedure Act. Details informal formal hearings shall be directed with the PHMSA FRA administrators with the facts made by the respondent to the unsubstantiated will only be adjudicated in the appeals for review by assessment review and audit in the case of the file. The civil penalties may be compromised with the compromise order determined by the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection. Compliance orders with permits and facility maintenance work orders shall not be issued a compromise order. The Commission may uphold the order, modify the order to eliminate violations and reduce the assessed penalty, discuss of the case entirely, violation not dismissed from the respondent must pay the penalty, or the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection, injunction, relief, or action with the Department of Justice. The United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection may seek with the relief of the Department of Justice for act of the practice involved with the violation of federal hazardous material transportation law of the regulations issued there under the form of mandatory prohibitive injunction relief and determine equitable relief and the punitive damages, ticketing and civil penalties involved with the hazardous transportation law conducted within the Department of Homeland Security with the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection, DoD, and non-DoD supported committees shall be conducted as described in Title 49, Part 107, Section 107.311, and Federal Mediation Council and with the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection. United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection will be archived by the Library of Congress in a session, meeting, hearings, judgment, rulings, federal registry, and archives will be maintained in military colleges following the Federal Advisory Committee Act and provisional informations to Congress. The program support letters of addendum will be written in the Enforcement Petroleum Inspection issuing of the warrant cross-model agencies, intra and interstate oil gas commissions to warrant and provide invitation to active investigation complying with local and state hazmat charter of environmental stewardship. Warrants for investigation inspector, United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection Commission generally will have fill vacancies. Utility companies possess seismic investigations will be done on the pipeline buried utilities. The Reserve Office will note and fill the consignments for all of the other vacancies. Respondents must furnish requested with the blueprints of the facility, update with the equipment inventory frequencies of the last inspection. After the warrant readiness and assistant visits of the detailed plans will be brought with a briefing will be given to the commander of the Transcom and units of the former Black Cat Battalion in the best chain of command task orders from formal training circulars as spill prevention plans will be made to tailor the investigation. Incident command post will be established. Inspections done with the warrant may be uninclusive of the warrant, and with the Inspector General findings other proper findings may at any time decide the warrant scopes has been changed, a commitment of fraud has occurred, and the reason for full investigation. And then I didn't fill out the glossary and the acronyms and the reference, but this was the draft version of, completed draft version of the United States Commission on Petroleum Inspection. Thank you.